you're tired of cheap bootleg Rolex Submariner copies, you're going to want to watch this video. Before we get started, has anybody else ever heard of this brand before this video? Let me know down in the comments. So we're taking a look at the Gevril, maybe that's how you say it, Wall Street. And one interesting thing to note about this brand is that it actually appears to have roots in Swiss watchmaking, dating back to the 18th century, according to the good old internet. And although the brand seems to have American roots today, their site still claims Swiss made. The watch uses a Swiss made movement. So we're already starting on a pretty high quality note. Another thing absolutely worth mentioning is actually customer service. Now you're probably thinking this is somebody else's watch and brand new, so how do you have experience with their customer service? Well, I actually had an issue with the bracelet that came with this watch brand new, so I reached out to customer service. Long story short, they not only responded, but they helped me resolve the issue painlessly. They were a big help, so shout out to the customer service over there, and that's definitely something worth knowing for anybody possibly looking at this brand of watches, is that, at least based on my one experience so far with them, their customer service is pretty solid. By the way, big shout out to Steve for dropping this watch off literally brand new for me to unbox and check out before he even got to see it. Very much appreciated. If you have a timepiece you'd like to see reviewed here at Should I Time This, email me at shoulditimethis@gmail.com. I'll let you know where to send the watch. It'll be reviewed, insured, and sent back. Okay, let's check out the Wall Street, one section at a time. The case on the Wall Street is really nice. It's made out of a high-grade 316L stainless steel, has a nice bit of weight to it. All of the machining is nicely done and the finishing is nice and uniform. Even the polished sides of the case display a nice quality aesthetic. You have a solid screw-down case back with plenty of useful information about the watch engraved into it, including a number out of 500, indicating that maybe only 500 of these were made, or only 500 of these were made in this color. The site actually doesn't specify. I love the screw down crown here. It's large to the point of almost being oversized, and it has great grip to it, which makes winding and setting the watch nice and easy. Last, let's talk about this bezel. First of all, the action is perfect. Not too hard to turn, but very precise, with a good amount of stiffness, positive clicks in each position, and absolutely no play in the mechanism. The edge has great grip to it, and it hangs over the edges of the case just enough that it's easy to grab. So between that detail and the amount of grip here, it would be pretty easy to use this bezel with wet hands or with gloves on. One curious but positive detail here is the bezel insert, which I'm about 94% sure is ceramic. The company website doesn't specify what it is at all, and neither does any retail site that the watch is on. The case overall is just really good, not just because it's sharp aesthetically, but because you could tell by the weight and feel of it that you are wearing something fairly substantial. If you've seen a Rolex Submariner dial, you've seen this dial. Everything from the shapes of the hour markers and hands to overall layout, minus the branding of course, are aesthetically the same thing. And just like on the Submariner, the layout is clean and simple. Just the time with a date window at 3 o'clock. And I'd like to point out that if you watch this channel often, you know that I don't like a cyclops on any watch. But this brand actually did a really good job here, shaping the lens in such a way that you can actually read the date fairly easily from various angles without too much distortion. The quality of the polished borders around the hour markers is well done, and the same goes for the polished quality on the hands. I also love the fact that they used a handset with a perfect length for the size of the dial, with the minute and second hand stretching all the way out over that minute track. Nicely done. The only usable complication on this watch is the date at 3 o'clock. As I mentioned earlier, the Cyclops on this watch is one of the few I've ever seen that actually does a good job of magnifying this feature clearly and without distorting the numerals, so it's obviously a very useful complication, and it works well on this watch. Let's talk lume. This brand doesn't tell you what kind of luminescent filling they use here, but it's very good. Now, interestingly enough, it's not very bright, even with a full lume charge, but it ticks all the other boxes for good quality lume. It has a nice uniform glow between all of the indices and hands, which gives the lume a solid quality look. It actually lasts fairly long, and it picks up a usable amount of charge even from standard indoor light. So it might not be the brightest, but it's pretty good lume. Time at a glance is perfect. The polished steel hands, white lume fillings, and white printed minute track all contrast perfectly against the black backdrop, and the hands are the perfect length for this style. Finding the time on this watch at a quick glance is a breeze. The bracelet on this watch is this brand's version of a standard Jubilee bracelet. And not unlike the rest of the watch, the quality is excellent. The finishing is well done. The weight and feel of the bracelet complement the watch body perfectly, and between the lateral flex of the 5-link design and the fine adjusters at the clasp to help you set the size just right, it's a comfortable bracelet to wear. And the double locking clasp on this bracelet is well built and has a good quality mechanism that doesn't feel flimsy or loose. The bracelet looks perfect with this watch, and it has a good feel to it, so no complaints. And now we come to value, and here's where it gets interesting. MSRP on this watch is $3,495, but as of the time of this video, I've seen it brand new on a couple of sites for between $500 and $900. Now, there are countless Submariner copies out there, so ordinarily I would never look twice at this watch for this price, if not for the fact that I've spent time with it. I don't own a Rolex Submariner, but I've worn a couple, and I have to tell you, this is the closest feel to a Rolex Submariner that I've come across in the sub $1,000 price range. Now pair that with the fact that this is a Swiss-made watch with some Swiss brand heritage, with a Swiss-made automatic movement in it, and sure, it's never going to have the resale value of a Rolex, but if you're looking for something that looks and feels as close to the real thing as possible, and you want to spend less than $1,000, this is it. And for more than 20 times less than what an actual black and green Rolex Submariner currently costs as of the date of this video. So for the current selling price of this watch, selling price, not the MSRP, I'm actually fairly surprised to say that this is a very good value. If you want to see my thoughts on a similar Rolex homage piece, click here.